Hello and welcome to SteveKnows. It's time for the weekly news update, and it is an exciting week, mostly because it's all about progress, such as new headsets, new features, new games, and so much more. So I think that is enough chin wagging. Let's get started. Today's video is sponsored, but it's for a great multiplayer VR title, V-Racer Hoverbike, a racing game that has implemented a very interesting mechanic to avoid the feeling of motion sickness and deepen your immersion, so you have to lean with your chest or countersteer just like a real motorbike. You get to race across 30 tracks that vary from the stunning views of Italy and Spain to alien deserts or space orbital circuits with loop-de-loops. But it also throws in the addition of offensive and defensive perks along the track to give you a speed boost, deploy a drone, deploy a shield to protect yourself, or throw out an EMP to disable a rider's bike so you can get ahead. It offers 7 game modes: Career, Time Trial, Survivor, the Weekly Challenge, and Neon Rider if you're interested in some Tron racing. That mode tickled my pickle. Plus, inside all the customization options available for your bike and your suit, I did get to dress up as SteveKnows. Represent! Where the game really shone through for me though is the multiplayer mode. It's tough to beat a tournament with friends for a good time. I hadn't enjoyed myself in VR like that for a while. V-Racer Hoverbike out right now since June 26th on the MetaQuest store for around $30, which is around £23. I'll leave a link in the description down below. So first of all, I do want to confirm the rumours around the Xbox Quest that we spoke about last week, because it is real and it's available right now. So if you didn't know, I have one right here. It's up there, but I've not opened it yet. I'm waiting for the opportunity, just super busy. But I can confirm, as we didn't know before, that it does come with touch controllers, because that was a concern from last week. Although if you were thinking of picking one up on the Meta Store, the Xbox version of the headset seems to be sold out. And sadly, it's Bradley posted on Twitter that some people bought it, they took out the exclusive Xbox controller, and are now just reselling the headset part with the controllers, so the Elite Strap, the Quest 3S, and the touch controllers for less than the RRP, which actually is a kind of funny story, but a win-win for many people, because if you already own an Xbox, you don't need a controller. But if you want this new cool VR headset, you can get this exclusive design for less than the asking price. And if you just want the cool exclusive controller, you can help out some VR people get a cheaper headset. I'm still a little gutted that we haven't seen a premium version of this, because the old lenses in the 3S, just let it go. They need to go. Now moving on to the wonderful findings of Luna. So the recent release of the version 79 Quest build has dropped in the PTC, the public testing channel, just a few days ago. So they have been on the hunt for upcoming features, changes in the firmware, new source code strings that can give us an insight into what's coming for the future of Quest. And I want to go over some, but first, thank you, Luna. So the first change that we may be seeing is the navigator that dropped in version 78 that introduced this translucent overlay for navigating menus. That is getting an update. Instead of this gradient background overlay that you had before, you can choose to go for a transparent approach, a bit like the Apple Vision Pro, where the apps and the menus just sort of overlay the pass-through. That's likely because of complaints. People were not enjoying the gradient, so they thought, okay, we're listening, because we need to be a bit nicer with our rollouts, because we've been lacking. There is also the ability to unpin apps in the navigator, meaning the ability to start customizing the 10 pinned application slots that were on this menu. So you should be able to put your favorite apps there instead of these ones that were, well, forced upon us. There's also a menu update to be able to adjust the menu slightly automatically depending on the light temperature of your surroundings in pass-through. So if I'm playing at night and the moon is casting beautiful light through my window, I can expect a cool lighting tinge to my menu. But if it's a sunrise, I'm playing during the golden hour, I can expect more of a warm tinge. Sorry, it's the word tinge I find amusing. My American people, do you know the word tinge? Next, something that was mentioned a long time back was that Meta was trying to make a more seamless user experience between the PC VR side of VR and the standalone hardware. So it seems that soon you should be able to see your PC VR library for the Horizon Store PC VR titles, but I can't grasp what they mean by this. Does it mean that you'll be seeing your PC VR titles in your app library on Quest, Or is it on the PC VR library, it's going to show you all of your PC VR supported games like the cross-buy titles, and apps cannot be downloaded whilst you're playing another one. Annoying. But why? There was also something around the spatial window limit that looks to be changing, although it seems that this potentially just could be a way for Meta internally to start debugging and playing around. So the spatial window limit at the moment, is 3. It looks like that this can go to 9. That would be some sci-fi level stimulation, just 9 screens, unless it's just for internal use, because that is Windows madness. But pretty cool. I hope we do get that, even though I can't concentrate on one thing, let alone 3 or 9. A pretty cool feature now around video capturing and capturing specific windows. As a creator, this would be super helpful. Instead of the whole screen being captured, it looks like I'll be able to capture specific windows instead of the entire world, which means the headset wobble will no longer be an issue because it's capturing the window, and I can capture the full window and nothing else, so it will be increased quality, hopefully. A bit like how Zoom works. You can share your whole screen, or you can choose a specific window to share with people. So welcome, at least from a creator standpoint, over the moon. And finally, some lovely findings of a potential G-Tag bundle for the Quest, which I thought was it's a free title, so what's the bundle? It looks like it's going to offer additional things expected to come before Q4, because it says September here. Claim before September. So it says, claim the Gorilla Tag bundle, and you'll also get 1,000 shiny rocks and exclusive skins. Not a bad idea. Meta stated that the new intake of players are looking for these free-to-play games, and Gorilla Tag is one of the biggest. But now let's talk about games. What about the games? A pretty well-known little title called Little Nightmares is coming to VR. And this is called Little Nightmares VR Altered Echoes. This is the VR spin on the very popular horror puzzle platformer. And whilst the announcement is pretty cool, we didn't get a release date or a price. It was just a teaser trailer. So it's like, we're coming, but it didn't give us enough stuff. The teaser trailer just sort of hinted at the vibe of the game, which if you already know the franchise, you should already know what you're going to expect with this. But the creepiness vibe is great because VR amplifies that. The flat screen announcement for the next installment of this game is October 10th, so I would expect the VR release to be before that because you don't compete against yourself. So I'm hoping before then. In VR, MMORPGs, they are incredible, but the time and effort and investment from both dev and consumer is huge. And we have seen seemingly wildly successful attempts, but then it just drops off incredibly fast. So this new one is a Kickstarter-backed experience called Eldramoor Haven in the Mist, a fantasy VR MMORPG, get it all out, developed by Resolute Games. This game is for MetaQuest and PC VR, offering 5 distinct biome locations to mine, raid, craft, engage in PvP combat, and do some exploring for some loot. It's an MMORPG. But it also boasts additional social community type elements to it, such as some tavern-based minigames, go grab a drink and play some games like darts, and fishing, because you can't have a VR MMO without fishing. It's a rite of passage. Without it, I don't think you can call it an MMO. But the bit that got me here was the development team consists of developer veterans from VR MMO projects from the past, big ones like Orbis and Zenith. So could they bring lessons learned from those previous projects to make this more successful? If you're interested in this, I will link it down below in the description. It is time for some quickfire news now. These are interesting things that don't need much elaboration. And the first is Meta now supports in-app payments for WEBXR experiences, allowing WEBXR creators to make their WEBXR apps available via the Meta Horizon store. That's interesting because they're PAWs. You don't need them to be on the store, but I guess they're just going to be shortcuts. But I'm not going to celebrate because, in-app payments, we don't like it. But the positive is it's an avenue for developers that wasn't open before. I can welcome this given the current VR game landscape that we could do an entire video on. Support devs any way we can. And this last one, VR being used for good fills me with such joy. So this is AAA meetings are being held in VR every single day in virtual spaces, helping recovering addicts and doing it in a way where they can have consistent community and support that otherwise would be harder to obtain. It would require more effort, leaving the house, and of course, less frequent. And VR offers anonymity. So they are currently doing this in Horizon Worlds and VR chat. This stuff I absolutely love to see. So the schedule I'll put on screen now in case some of you wanted to visit, start making progress today. And I wish you all the best. And that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope there was something here to get you excited for VR again. We learned about new headsets, new features, new games, and VR for social good. Hopefully I'll see you next time, but more importantly, have a great week. Happy gaming. Good day!